everyone, I'm Abby Sharp. Welcome to Abby's Kitchen. Today's video is sponsored by Squarespace, and I will be reviewing another Harpers Bazaar What I Eat in a Day by infamous supermodel Tyra Banks. Now, before we get into it, I wanted to chat about my sponsor, Squarespace. So if you're not familiar, Squarespace is an all-in-one platform where you can build a website, blog, online store, or just use their marketing tools and analytics. They have so many new awesome features that are perfect for new entrepreneurs and hobbyists who are looking to get their passion out into the world. So for example, if you want to blog, they have an easy integrated commenting system and blogging tools for sharing and scheduling posts. If you are super into your Instagram or Facebook, you can sync those up with your website to make sure that everything is working together nicely. They also have all of your analytics there so that you can see how your site is performing and adjust your content strategy based on your stats. Honestly, I wish this kind of support was available when I was just starting on blogging like a decade ago, because it would have saved me so much money and time. But if you're interested in getting started, you can check out squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/AbbySharp to save 10% off of your first purchase of a website or domain. Also, super quick before we dive in, you can pause this screen or look in the description to check out my disclaimer, including a trigger warning to those with current or previous experiences with disordered eating. I will be evaluating meals based on their nutritional merit alone, which says very little about their overall value. So if that's not supporting your food journey, by all means, sit this one out. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring that little bell so that you never miss out on a video. All right, let's hear from Tyra.
I love me some coffee, and I like my coffee with a little bit of flavor in it. I just mean the beans have been soaked in some vanilla or some caramel infusation. Is that a word? And so I make my coffee black, no sugar, no cream, just my infused flavor.
So here's a juicy little topic to kick off the video: flavored coffee. If you have a sweet tooth and you're trying to cut back on the added sugars, syrups, and like flavored creamers and things like that, you might be into buying like creme brulee or birthday cake or pumpkin spice coffee beans. Typically, the nutrition label doesn't list any extra calories, so what the heck is in them to give them that flavor? Well, believe it or not, but flavored coffee beans are often made with lower quality or older coffee beans that then get sprayed with natural and often synthetic flavorings, as well as being bathed in solvents like alcohol, propylene glycol, and vegetable oils, which help to get the flavor to adhere. Sometimes if you're buying it pre-ground, the flavor is kind of added in like a starch-based powder right into the coffee ground. Does that mean they are toxic? No. Does that mean that they are bad for you? No. If you love the taste of Bananas Foster coffee, then you do you. But I will say a lot of coffee connoisseurs are understandably anti-flavored beans because they see it as a way of selling semi-stale or like poor quality beans and masking the true flavor of something that they love. But if you don't love the flavor of coffee, then brew up that chocolate caramel brownie coffee and you do you. I'm just gonna take a sip here of my coffee flavored coffee.
So hot.
All right, let's see what she's having to eat.
I take my bagel, then I take my whipped cream cheese, and I put it inside of the microwave.
Whoa.
So I have to blow, and then I slowly bring it to my mouth, and I try to get the cleanest bite, but there's whipped cream, whatever cream, all over my lips.
That description of a bagel was the textbook definition of extra. You would think that this is like an audition tape for cats. But anyways, let's talk about the bagel. Well, not to be a bitch, but much like Tyra's current Hollywood status, I feel like this breakfast is a little passé. Like, hello, 2010 called and it wants its low-carb breakfast hack back. Just kidding. I am admittedly a little salty because of the blackface controversy, which forever put a real bad taste in my mouth. But okay, there's nothing wrong with a classic bagel and cream cheese Sammy, especially if it's an everything bagel, which you know is my jam. But I gotta say, there isn't a whole lot of nutrition going on to hold her until lunch. First of all, to hollow or not hollow?
To be or not to be, that is the question.
Tyra, you are giving me thespian energy here. Whew. Listen, if you're watching your carbs or like you're just not that excited by the inside of your bagel, it's worth pointing out that a standard bakery bagel does contain twice the carbs and calories of 2 slices of whole grain bread. So you could literally have 4 slices of bread and get 4 times the fiber and more protein if you went the whole grain bread route. Having said that, you sometimes just can't replace a good bagel. And for some, myself included, hollowing it out kind of ruins the bagel eating experience. Bubby would not approve. So if that is true for you, you might just be better off from an enjoyment and nutrition standpoint to choose a good quality bread instead. As for the microwave changing the molecular structure of the cheese, Tyra girl, if you are good at one thing, it's making things seem way more complicated and pompous than needs be. The microwave might melt the cream cheese a little. It may slightly alter your perception of the flavor, but it's still just basic ass cream cheese. So if I was going to make any suggestions here, it would be to swap the hollowed out bagel for a few slices of whole grain bread, or at least choose a whole grain bagel for a little extra fiber. And then I would go halvesies on the cream cheese and split the difference with some avocado for healthy fats, some sliced hard-boiled egg for some protein, and then load it up with some extra veggies. Honestly, if there was ever a good reason to hollow out the innards of a bagel, it would be to fit more veggies and protein between the halves so that you can fit more, not less, nutrition into your mouth.
So I go into our snack box. Do I want corn chip? Or do I want sesame bar? Or do I want some... And I feel disgusting.
And this, my friends, is the problem with all of these health food snacks. I bring you the classic flavor hunt. Let's say you really want Ruffles potato chips with all the salt, but you tell yourself, nah, that stuff is bad. So you open up a bag of cauliflower puffs instead. Obviously, that wasn't what you wanted, so you go for the bean chips. Nope, not that. Let's have the natural licorice, then the sesame bar, then the corn chips, until finally you say, F it, and you blast through a family-sized bag of the Ruffles that you should have probably just eaten a modest bowl of in the first place. And alas, here you are, like Tyra said, with 9 open bags in front of you, and maybe not feeling so hot. Now, Tyra may genuinely like all of these healthier snacks, but in my experience, when you feel the need to graze through a wide range of foods until you feel disgusting, as she said, there's probably a sense of mental scarcity still going on. It's generally always a better idea to allow yourself mindful portions of the real deal and just move on. As for these snacks, I want to also just say that there's nothing wrong with any of them if they spark joy. But don't be fooled by the health halo that some of them possess. Natural licorice, for example, whatever the hell that means, still has like 16 grams of added sugar per serving and nothing really else. So if you enjoy these snacks, amazing. Like I actually have the cauliflower puffs at home and I think they're pretty good. But remember what I always say about eating naked carbs. Rather than thinking about cutting them out, we want to think about what we can add in to make it a more satiating, balanced snack. So I would suggest pairing one of these chips or crisps maybe with some higher fat or higher protein dips like hummus or a black bean dip or guacamole, which, let's be real, would just make this whole thing way tastier as well.
I have a very interesting relationship with food. A lot of my personal life and the things that I like to do and my hobby is food. So much so that right now, you can't tell because I have on a men's blazer, I am 25 pounds heavier than I was on the cover of a very famous swimsuit magazine that came out last year. So I'm 30 pounds heavier, and it'll come off one day, but not today.
So I am super curious what Tyra defines as being interesting about her relationship with food. Obviously, I can't tell that much just from this quick little 6-minute interview. I am happy to hear that she doesn't seem too distraught or alarmed by her recent weight gain, and she continues on the conversation talking about her apparent love of food. I mean, I feel like this is a situation a lot of us have found ourselves in COVID times, and I'm sure it's somewhat reassuring to hear a supermodel normalizing the experience and practicing some compassion. Or, at least not making it a thing. I'm sure it's not easy to turn off that part of your brain when body manipulation has been so heavily ingrained in your life and career. And I also hope that she now looks back on some of her body shaming remarks on America's Next Top Model and feels embarrassed that she participated and perpetuated that problematic culture. Most notably, this disgusting comment right here.
Danielle, you went to the dentist, but you refused to have your gap closed. Do you really think you can have a CoverGirl contract with the gap in your mouth?
Yeah, why not?
This is all people see. It's easier he's beautiful CoverGirl.
Anyways, let's focus on the food, Abby. Focus on the food. Let's hear what she has to say.
I go to a delivery app and I choose 2 different restaurants with the same cuisine. Let's say Mexican. La Rancha, I will order nachos. I will order nachos from La Burrito Titi. I'll order enchiladas con carne. I'll order one here. And then they come almost at the same time. And then there's the taste test.
So that sounds like a really fun game and also a good way to narrow down the sea of options on your Uber Eats app. Having said that, obviously this is a privileged exercise that could cost you double in delivery fees. So you can also just start like a little restaurant journal where you take notes of the dishes that you ordered and what you liked and didn't like. That way, when you go to order again, you know where your money is best spent. Anyway, if you want to see what I order and how I order when I get delivery or takeout, you can check out my vlog video right here.
One thing that I recently cooked is my sriracha maple bacon jerky candied yum. I take bacon and I create a sauce on the side that is maple syrup, but it has to be fake maple syrup, not that fancy Canadian stuff.
Okay, I'm here for the bacon girl, but what the hell is fake maple syrup? I mean, I know what it is, but I didn't know that somebody actively would choose pancake syrup over the real deal. Honestly, I am way less concerned with the fact that pancake syrup is fake or not clean or is made with high fructose corn syrup than I am legit just offended that anyone would try to mess with our national treasure. Do not f with a Canadian and her syrup. But since we're on the topic and it doesn't look like Tyra's eating anything else for dinner, let me talk about the deal with high fructose corn syrup found in products like pancake syrup. So you've probably heard high fructose corn syrup described by wellness alarmists as
the root cause of all evil in our world.
I mean, it's not great for you, but I think we can take it down a titch and calm the F down. So basically, this is an inexpensive sweetener found in a lot of commercial drinks and snack foods that's made from corn, and it has a higher proportion of fructose to glucose than regular corn syrup or table sugar. The reason it's been so heavily scrutinized in the media is that we do have a fair bit of research to suggest that consuming excess fructose increases fatty liver, insulin resistance, high cholesterol, and visceral fat, more so than glucose consumption. Fructose consumption also seems to not affect the areas of the brain controlling appetite the same way that glucose does, which may explain its relationship with weight gain and obesity. Having said all of that, while I do think it's wise to keep tabs on your intake of high fructose corn syrup, if you're eating a balanced diet that's generally low in added sugars, the relative proportion of calories from high fructose corn syrup won't likely be a big deal. I would rather people think about limiting overall added sugar consumption to the recommended 10% of calories or less, then I would suggest obsessing over getting that sugar from allegedly healthy or clean options like honey or maple syrup instead of toxic sources like high fructose corn syrup. Hey, if you love the taste of Aunt Jemima's as it seems Tyra does, then cool. Like, enjoy your candy bacon slathered in the stuff, but focus on choosing a sugar you actually love and making that sugar count rather than thinking that there's like a massive health difference to your health depending on the source. There is a difference, yes, but don't lose sight of the forest from the trees. Total intake is much more important. As for the maple sriracha bacon jerky, yum, that I can't deny sounds legit amazing. Like, it obviously ticks all the sensory boxes, so it's something that obviously probably would taste really good. Now, I don't need to tell you that it's a high salt, high sugar, high fat recipe, but I also assume that this recipe is not meant to replace a meal, but rather it might just be like a fun little garnish for something else. I've seen spicy maple bacon adorn dessert or like a Caesar cocktail, which by the way is the better Canadian version of a Bloody Mary. So again, I don't think it's meant to be a health food or to be served all on its own. It's just meant to taste really freaking good. I personally think it would be amazing on like a nutrient-dense salad to add a huge pop of flavor and texture. So if a little sweet and spicy bacon helps you make friends with salad, I say amen to that. All right, what can we say about Miss Tyra's meals? Or I guess not so much meals as like a meal and some snacks. I think we could definitely stand to add in like a vegetable or a piece of fruit somewhere in here. And no, the cauliflower puffs do not count. But I will just say that I was so relieved to not have to wade through a bunch of pseudoscience wellness tips from such a high-profile supermodel who lives and breathes in such a diet culture heavy industry. So while I am a little bit still bitter about Tyra's grossly problematic America's Next Top Model past, I'm at least reassured by not also getting force-fed a lot of woo in this interview. So thank you, Tyra. Now, on that note, friends, that is all that we have for today. Thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. If you liked it, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Leave me a comment below with your thoughts on who you'd like to see me review next. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time on Abby's Kitchen. Bye.